So what's up, you guys? So I know it's been a while since you've seen this car. This is the 2017 Fusion that has been on my channel a few times, which was my car. Now it's my fiance's car. I drive the Ram over there, and then I have my Crown Victoria, which is not here, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm gonna talk about this car as well. I might actually just make another video by itself about the Crown Victoria, and there's a whole lot of stuff about that. So anyway, I didn't get rid of it. It's just at the shop being worked on because I got tired of dealing with it. So, but like I said, I'll get into that in a minute in another video. But some stuff has happened to this car since we've had it. We had to put brakes on it. Got new pads on the front, but the rear got pads and rotors. They're Bendix pads and then Bendix rotors, I believe, because a lot of people don't know that the company Bendix, yes, they make stuff for semis and stuff like that, but the Bendix company actually was the first company to invent the disc brake system and a lot of braking components. So that's good. You know, I work with Bendix parts every day. I don't ever had any issues with them. There's nothing wrong with the rotors, nothing wrong with the pads, nothing like that. But we had to get them on there. So then my fiance wanted to, she was going to Louisiana for a couple of days last week. So she wanted to get them done before then. We had them, we just been putting it off. So we finally put them on, and they do fine. No issues. Everything's good. Everything's kosher. I do try to keep this car as clean as I can. We don't work the same hours. We don't work the same time during the day. So it's kind of hard for me to do that. So I try to clean it as much as I can. So it is nice and clean right now. It did rain a little bit here and there today, but it's still relatively clean. It's still nice and shiny and pretty, and still got tire shine on it and all that. But something happened to where we had to have the windshield replaced yesterday. So today's Thursday, the 23rd, February, and she was coming home Sunday night, and somebody decided it was going to be a funny idea to throw something at the car, and it cracked the windshield. Now, they threw this intending on her getting out of the car, and a lot of bad things could happen after that. I'm not going to talk about that on this channel because that's not what this channel is about, but just know it's where they typically either steal the car from somebody, or if you're a woman, they take advantage of the woman, and they still steal the car. So you can use your imagination for what that could be, so I'm not going to get into that. But she didn't stop, obviously, which is good. She had her daughter in the car, which is another good thing. She has common sense, so like I said, she didn't stop. She came all the way home. I didn't know it happened. She told me the day after when we woke up, or morning after. But originally we called a glass shop that put the windshield in my Tahoe just because they did a good job, so I called them. They're like, yeah, it's like $700 and some because it had to be calibrated, because this car does have this car does have the lane keep assist, which means pretty much there's a camera right there where that space is, right here where my finger is, and if you go out of your lane, the camera will notice it and it will vibrate the steering wheel. Some cars will pull you back into your lane, like my Maxima did that. It had lane keep assist and adaptive cruise. Adaptive cruise is pretty much you set a space between you and the car in front of you, and you set a speed. Whatever the car goes in front of you, it will stay at. But if the car in front of you slows down, obviously the car will slow down, and it'll maintain that pace and that speed and that distance until you either turn it off or want to get closer or whatever. But anyway, all that stuff worked. There was nothing wrong with it, but we called. It was about $700 because the camera had to be calibrated. So we were like, oh, okay, well, you know, if we got to come out of pocket for it, we will. But then we realized, wait a minute, we have insurance. And yes, I know, I apologize for the wind chimes. I do it every time. They're annoying as shit for me. I hate hearing them. But anyways, we called insurance, and the individual we talked to was busy at the moment with a customer, so she was going to call us back. Well, she called my fiance back. It was like, the agent that I actually deal with all the time called her back and said, hey, we'll go ahead and start a claim for you. No big deal. It's covered. Just tell us where you want it done, and we'll get it done. And that's what we did. So we called. They got it done, and we dropped it off yesterday around 8 o'clock. They called us at like 10:30, or called me at 10:30 and said, hey, it's finished. And she picked it up later on yesterday. And they actually did not have to calibrate the camera. If it had the lane keep, if it had the adaptive cruise, they more than likely would have had to do that. But because this doesn't have it, they didn't have to touch it. It was $697 total, which is strange because they listed this windshield on the paperwork as an $850 windshield, which I don't understand how it's an $850 windshield. I guess because of all the fancy shit right there, but I don't know. I don't do all that, so sorry, didn't mean to put my finger in front of the camera. But it's got a nice new windshield. It obviously does not have the strip anymore, so we have to get the strip replaced. That's not but maybe $20. I'm about to call here in a minute and ask, when we could do it. I want to do it Monday because I'm off on a Monday. So I want to go ahead and get it done, get it out of the way. But here's the car. It's still around. Like I've said before, it hasn't disappeared. It's still here. I'm driving it today because I went and dropped off the Crown Victoria, which, like I said, I'll talk about in another video. Yeah, so the truck's still here, obviously. I need to change the oil on it in the next couple weeks. I have the oil already. I just haven't changed it yet. Might do a video about that, too, since I haven't done one yet. But, yeah. But car's still the same. Looks exactly the same. Obviously doesn't have the 22s on it. So, there you go. But just figured I'd give you guys an update on this car because y'all haven't seen it in a while. Maybe somebody's asking about it and just some of the stuff we've dealt with over the past. I do know one thing, and then this did happen on the Maxima. She did say that she got in the car one day and it told her that there was a problem with the camera. Sometimes I'm assuming this is probably the same for all the cars that have this, not just the Fusion. If you have some kind of a camera or something like that up here, if there's any kind of condensation or steam or whatever from the defrost and all that, it will make the camera think there's an obstruction and it will have an issue and it will say that there's a malfunction because it's went away. It does work, so that's what I'm thinking. The Maxima did that, and I've read it a few times where that does happen, so just be careful. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is how they did the glue. That really bugs the shit out of me. I can tell a human did this, not a robot. And there's and right on cue, there's a train. But yeah, you can see the glue right there. I don't really like that at all. You can see the glue smushed out. I'm not a fan of that. Like, I replace windshields. It's not the only thing I do every day, but I do replace windshields on semis, and I don't like that at all on my personal car. Like this side, they did just fine. So what happened over there? Did they just get lazy and did this come back after lunch? Like, I don't get it. But whatever. As long as it doesn't leak, I don't really care. So that's all I'm worried about. But anyway, that's all for this video. Just in case, like I said, the car's still around. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.